Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and particularly the young crowd who is here for the last 2 days. And they have been really attentive. And I was very, very happy to hear from Mr. Sanjeev that, some of them are taking notes, and some of them have written up to 6, 7 pages of notes yesterday, and they have shown a keen interest. So this augurs well for the maritime growth of this country. And I must laud Week for taking this initiative. Riyadh, Sanjeev, Atul, and the entire team who have taken such great initiative to bring about greater maritime consciousness. That's a new word that people are talking about to say that India, after all, was on the cusp of maritime legacy, and we need to reinvent our maritime routes and ensure that we have a place in the community of nations. So from that point of view, all these panels which were there both yesterday and today have looked at indirectly at the pillars of blue economy. So it was not referred to directly as such, but all these are the pillars of blue economy, whether it is transportation, whether it is clean energy, whether it is ship repair, ship production, port development, or maritime tourism along the rivers, which you had so many presentations, or even the aquaculture, where we are looking at the increasing the fish production by all this. So what is a common factor that has come about in all these talks? In fact, if you go back to last year's address by Prime Minister Modi, in one of the talks, he laid emphasis on the 4 S's. What are these 4 S's? So essentially looked at scope, size, scale, and skill. So, if you are planning very huge things, that is scale, then you must have a vision, strategic vision, and then work for it and ensure that there is adequate skill for achieving the speed which will contribute to the entire progress of our maritime sector. So from that point of view, all the presentations, all the panel discussions yesterday and today have been extremely useful in providing you those vital inputs on what are the requirements for ensuring that we are able to contribute to blue economy aspirations, number 1, and also comply with the so-called SDG 14, Sustainable Development Goals 14, which you are familiar with. So from that point of view, I feel that this panel is extremely useful and important. It was the last panel in the last 2 days. This is the 6th panel, and we have 4 eminent speakers who are here, all highly qualified and with varied experience in their respective fields. And I'm not going to take a long time to introduce each one of them. Suffice to briefly introduce them to tell you the kind of activities they've engaged in and the kind of experience that they've built. So we have Captain Senthil Kumar is from the MMD, and he's a joint director, and he's also an alumnus of the IMU, there's Indian International Maritime University, Sweden, and he has 11 years of sailing experience, and is presently here in Kochi where it matters. Then we have Dr. PG Sunil Kumar. Can just identify yourself for everybody's benefit. He again is the former Director General of Mercantile, Dr. PG Sunil Kumar, who is the Department of Naval Architecture, Srinarayan Gurukulam College of Engineering. He was formerly with the Navy, but thereafter he's been with IITs, and he's worked enormously with the D&D, with NSTL, that is the National Scientific Technological Laboratory, and presently he is involved in teaching and skill sets of naval architecture. The third speaker is Dr. Ashwathy, another doctorate in agricultural economy, and she is deeply engaged in fisheries research and increasing the yield by responsible, sustainable practices, and we are happy to have her with us. And the last but not the least is Captain Tom Joseph, who is here, who has also helped me a lot in identifying the scope of our discussions and also getting me in touch with some of the other resource persons who are of great importance to the conversations that we're going to hold. Captain Tom Joseph is the 4th or the only amongst the 4 FNIs. There's a fellow of Nautical Institute of London. I think there are 4 of them in India. So I think it's a great recognition of his phenomenal work, both in the Indian Navy and thereafter in the Merchant Navy on DP vessels, and also thereafter he's now involved in various agencies. So do give a big hand to all the panelists who are here and join me in welcoming them. Now, because of the time constraints and because of the fact that apparently the minister is already on the road trying to come here, what I'll request each panelist is to try and identify the challenges and responses in the area that we identified, and then look at the way ahead options. Focusing on the critical requirement of skill development, which will enable this particular sector to achieve these objectives. Because we are looking at those figures which have been flashed in the last 2 days, which tells you about generation of 300,000 jobs, increasing our own GDP contribution, which is about 4% in the agricultural sector to 10%. Likewise, to increase the number of ships that we are building. All this is not going to be possible unless you have an ecosystem that looks at it in all its facets of, including financial support, management, which was covered in the last 2 topics. So all these are important components, and for Maritime India to grow as a maritime country, it would take phenomenal amount of efforts. I think one of the slides of a previous speaker said there are miles to go. So we entirely agree there are miles to go before we realize this dream. So I request each of them, starting with Mr. Senthil Kumar, to come here and take on the stage.
Thank you, sir. And I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to this occasion. As rightly pointed out, this session is talking about the maritime skills development. And if we pertaining to shipping, as we look, the world looks at India because India is having large number of young people, and seafaring and related associated activities like shipping companies, maritime professionals. The requirement is huge because if you look at the events happening in the world in IMO or United Nations or climate change system in UNFCCC, there is a huge potential for India and Indian seafarers to adapt to the new requirements, that is for decarbonization skills, or in future you might have ships which are completely automated, that is mass ships. So there, one is the first aspect is the seafarers who are around 250,000 in number, and according to our Maritime India vision, vision is having to increase from 12% to 20%. So in order to adopt that to 20%, we need to have the capacity building. One is in the training sector, maritime training institutes, which needs to adapt to the latest technologies or the technologies which is going to come for decarbonization, or ships which may use alternate fuels, renewable energies, and using alternate fuels means fuels like ammonia, hydrogen, and related to which is having zero emissions. But the like seafarers, myself and many who are here who sail, they have been blessed with fossil fuels, which is not much risky. But if you look at the green fuels like ammonia or hydrogen, it has a lot of risks associated with it. And accordingly, the seafarers needs to be trained, enhance their skills, capacity building, and Ministry of Port and Shipping Waterways has already identified the required skills, the gaps which is pertaining to now, and also gaps which can occur in futuristic. So training has been already identified in shipping sector, shipbuilding sector, and also training to the ports, where the ports is also will be required to increase their capacity in respect to the ships. Tomorrow, if green ships comes to Indian ports, how these ports resources will handle, that is a critical and very important, because India needs to build up the capacity and the skills also. The training programs has been identified for them. It will be in the first phase in next 6 months, it will be launched. And although in case of seafarers, India is also a member of International Maritime Organization, and in the subcommittee Human Training and Watchkeeping, we have already submitted many papers identifying the futuristic skills required. Accordingly, the standard training certification watchkeeping convention, that is a convention which is binding for all Indian seafarers and global seafarers who man the ships, So according to the requirement, the skills gaps required has been submitted in IMO, and it is in the process of complete review. And if you look at the gaps, and if we really capable increase the capacity and enhance the skills, it is sure that India will have a huge potential. First one is enhancement of seafarers content, and also world India can become the major shipping activity for ship management. There is a huge potential for managing the futuristic ships, where we can have the resources, including the shore-based organization, ship management activities. So it is certain that there is a huge potential, and also lot of effort has been taken by Ministry of Ports, Shipping, Waterways. There is a organization, there is a committee called NAVIC cell, pertaining to mainly capacity building and enhancing the skills. So this cell is very, very focused, which identified already for the up to 2030 and beyond that also. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the wonderful input. May I now request the next panelist, Dr. PG Sunil Kumar. With his phenomenal experience, particularly also now into teaching, I would also request him to focus a little more on use of modern aids, technology, AI, etc. in terms of teaching. But there's one important point which he made with experiences in DRDO. He said there is greater focus on processes and not the end product. So if this has to change, how can they contribute from the institutions, from training institutions, teaching institutions? You know, if you can also kindly concentrate on that, it will be useful to the young people who are here, who are looking forward to shaping a career in the maritime industry. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to everybody. I'm a naval architect, and my domain is shipbuilding. We have Maritime India Vision 2030 and Maritime Nautical Vision 2047. And we have got very stiff targets. And these targets are for shipbuilding in terms of tonnage. When you look at Indian shipbuilding, almost 70 to 75% of the shipbuilding activities in India are related to the defense sector. And the defense ships, Navy and Coast Guard ships, they do not come under this tonnage rules. So the target for us is very, very stiff. If you look at the shipyards, other than Cochin shipyard, all other major public sector yards in India, be it MDL, GSL, GRSE, or Hindustan Shipyard, they are all under the Defense Ministry. So to meet this target, where commercial ships are considered, it's a stiff target itself. So for that, we have been hearing about the gap between academia and industry. It has been there for a long time. That will be there for in future also. But now, we have to see how we can bridge this skill gap. Graduates who come out of colleges, when they go to shipyards or other places, or even on board ships, they will have a lot of, they have got a lack of experience on practical works. That's called the skill gap. And to meet our shipbuilding targets, we need our skill levels, we need skilled manpower at various levels, at worker level, supervisor level, and also at engineers level. And in shipbuilding, I'm talking about the shipbuilding activity per se, you have a lot of skill development required for plate fabricators, welders, pipe fitters, and in automation, because nowadays all activities are linked to PLM and other activities. And in the design agencies, you need multidisciplinary skills, software skills, and of course, skills in AI. Yesterday in that discussion on design, they were mentioning AI specifically. Now this, we can look at it at three fronts. First is at the government front. The National Education Policy of 2020, which is already in force, this policy has identified a lot of activities. There's a transition from our traditional teacher-led learning to student-led learning. And towards this, this policy has introduced a lot of project-based learning. That means at the end of every subject, students will have to do a project and then submit the report. That means they are moving more towards the practical side of it. Then challenge electives have been introduced. means they are slightly tough, and that is for advanced learners. More importantly, year-long internships. If it is a beta course, it's 4 years generally. And here, in the new policy, the theory subjects or the classroom subjects will be over by the 6th semester or by the end of 3rd year. 4th year, the 2 semesters are free for students to take up internships at various organizations. And then industry mentoring programs. These are also envisaged in NEP 2020. At institutional level, at present, our faculty members, all of them may not be updated on the current developments or the current regulatory developments rather, especially in shipbuilding. So, if NEP is implemented in the right spirit, then it's a solution for this. Another proposal is industrial updates by faculty internships. It not only students, faculty also once in a while, they should go for internships to industry and see what is happening over there. Then that gives them a right picture. And government has already introduced a concept of professor of practice. Traditionally, for teaching in colleges, you need at least a postgraduate degree. And for associate professor and above, PhD is mandatory. But now, with these professionals with years of experience, even without a postgraduate degree, they can teach in colleges and institutes. That is already being implemented at various places. And these students are going to get immensely benefited, and the skill gap is going to get covered. The next is at the industry level. Now, if you take my field, naval architecture, there are only 4 or 5 institutes which are offering this course in India, out of which IIT Madras and IMU, they have doubled the seats last year onwards. So getting an internship in an organization it's very hard nowadays. So through, if the industries can provide internship opportunities to students, they only will get benefited in the future. Then skill gap identification in curriculum. That also needs industrial intervention and industrial mentoring. That is also another area which is possible. Now, government has already identified the skill gaps in maritime sector. So, Center for Excellence in Maritime and Shipbuilding, which was established in 2016 by the government of India, they are doing a lot of work in this area. They are running short courses for all these areas which I suggested, and also long duration courses. But it again depends on how industry is supporting those organizations like that. So with all this put together, we will be able to meet our targets of 2030 and 2047. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the fact that you brought out about the role of the government as far as skill development centers are concerned, even Kerala has got many initiatives for skill development. That's most required because one of the study report clearly said that the skill development in India is at about 2 to 3% compared to 80 to 90% where the developed countries are offering this. So this is a serious issue and that requires to be addressed. If you want job-ready people who are there, because we say that they're not job-ready, they come there and the industry has to spend a lot of time in skilling them and upgrading their abilities to work in high-tech industries. So this will continue to be a challenge and we need to be able to address this. Now we over to Dr. Ashwathy. She's going to speak on a very important area of agricultural production through fisheries. And we are doing fairly well, but there are phenomenal amount of challenges in terms of modernization, in terms of our people adopting to deep sea fisheries. There is reluctance for them to go out. They want all the fish to be next to their house. So that's not going to happen. So she's also taken the trouble of preparing some slides. So I'll request you to go ahead and use them if you wish to, but maybe you can move on straight to the last 3 or 4 slides. Thank you. I believe the minister is already likely to come here. So we are under a little bit of pressure to finish it. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll be discussing an entirely different aspect, that is skill development in the marine fishery sector. I'll try to fit the topic with the goals of the conclave. Next slide. So why skill development is important in the marine fisheries sector. Earlier, we used to have the goal of achieving sustainable exploitation of marine fisheries. Now, the government of India has come out with the blue economy policy, and all are talking about expansion of blue economy, blue growth and all. And so there are multiple sectors competing with the fishery sector in the same space. Some are competitive, some are complementary. We have already, very recently, we have seen in Kerala the 2 shipwrecks. So these shipwrecks have direct as well as indirect impact on the different sectors of the marine fishery sector. Like when the shipwreck occurred, we need to assess the impact of the shipwreck. What is the biodiversity impact? So the researchers come in place. Then there is livelihood impact on the marine fisher folk. So the compensation is fixed based on the environmental impact as well as the socio-economic impact on the coastal communities. So all type of actors in the marine fisheries sector has to act, develop skills for assessing the impact. So this is the linkage when fixed our goal like expansion of blue economy. There are multiple sectors and there are interacting sectors. So we need to deal all these sectors in a blue economy context. Next slide. So when this topic was given, I tried to fix it into 3 major pillars of the actors in the marine fishery sector. The skills in the marine fisher folk, then researchers, as well as the development departments. Actually, these skills are interlinked. For example, I belong to ICRCMFR, it is a research institute. We developed the minimum legal size for marine fishes. That is based on our biological experiments. So this minimum legal size of marine fishes is transferred to the development departments for developing the regulations. That is, we are preventing the juvenile fishes, catch of juvenile fishes. And the next part, the regulations will be imposed on the marine fisher folk, those who are actually doing the fishing. So they need to develop the skills of identifying the minimum, what is the minimum legal size of catching each species. So these skills are interlinked. Similarly, there are different technologies developed by the fisher folk themselves, or we have imported technologies. And our marine fisheries sector is not regulated, it is open access. So whatever technology is developed, it will have an impact on the researchers. So the research, for example, the marine fishers, they used to undertake the fishing operations based on profit. So if they identify a different species which is not commercially exploited in the usual their trips, so the research system needs to act and need to study the new commercially exploited species. So all these skill development in all these key actors are interlinked. So we'll see what skills are required for the marine fisher folk. The key skills required for the marine fisher folk, including the active fishers as well as other value chain actors. These are the main key skills identified: deep sea fishing, vessel navigation, onboard safety, and there are a lot of modern electronic devices are coming, and sustainable fishing practices. Then post-harvest handling and cold chain operations. Then there are man-made as well as natural disasters. So the fishers need to be prepared to handle these man-made as well as natural disasters. That is disaster response and risk management. Then alternate livelihood opportunities are available in the mariculture technology. So they need to develop the skills in mariculture, then entrepreneurial skills. Coming to the second key actor, that is the development departments. Mainly it is the Department of Fisheries. So they are the actors, who need to have the maximum skill in the blue economy context, because they have to implement all the regulations in the field. So they need to have technical skills, data management skills, governance skills, and institutional coordination. Because when the shipwreck occurred, they are the primary actors. They are collecting the first-hand information from the fisherfolk. They have to link with different agencies like Disaster Management Agency, Pollution Control Agency, Pollution Control Board, research institutes and all. So they need to develop all type of skills. And this is the key skill development needs for the researchers. Now we all live in the age of AI and digital revolution. So all AI-enabled softwares as well as autonomous systems. So the scientists need to develop skills on all these digital technologies. Then there is a scope for marine bioprospecting, that is developing bioactive products from the different marine resources. Then spatial modeling skills. Then low carbon technologies. I think this has a very good link with the other maritime sectors. I think previous speakers, they spoke about the carbon dioxide emissions and carbon footprint in the maritime shipping industry. So we are also undertaking projects on ocean accounting, and blue carbon accounting is included in that. So at present, this is an emerging research issue, that is ocean accounting and blue carbon accounting, as well as blue carbon credit. So the carbon dioxide emissions from generated by an industry could be traded for the carbon generated from the marine ecosystems. So we are also working on developing the voluntary carbon markets based on harnessing the marine ecosystems. So all these different maritime sectors are interlinked in the blue economy context. Coming to the institutional support for skill development in the marine fishery sector, there are several schemes by the Government of India, including Sagarmala program, Marine Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampad Yojana. Then several institutions are involved in skill development, and also there are digital portals by the Government of India for giving training to all the key actors like researchers, development departments, as well as the fisherfolk. Then I will skip, due to time constraint, I will skip all these slides. These are the key initiatives where my institute, ICSMFRA, is involved in the skill development of marine fisherfolk. We are involved in sea cage farming, then artificial reef installation, then marine bioprospecting and blue biotechnology, and skill development in the digital technologies. And we are also supporting the fisherwomen by improving their skills and empowering the fisherwomen. And these are the major challenges for the fisherfolk and other actors in the fish value chain. That is low transfer of information and scalability issue or the technology developed in the labs, then digital divide and geographic challenges, regulatory hurdles and operational risk in the marine environment. Then there is gender barriers like traditional gender roles and exclusion of women from the tech-focused professions. Then issue of migrant fishers, and one of our recent studies indicated that 60% of the marine fisherfolk are migrants. So we need to assess, are they skilled, and there should be a mechanism to skill the migrant fishers. Then high cost of adoption. Some of the technologies developed, even though the fishers are skilled, the high cost of adoption prevent them from adopting the already developed skill. Then challenges to the researchers and development departments, limited infrastructure, shortage of funds, fragmented responsibilities within different agencies. Then there is gender barriers for the women, that is leadership, management, as well as networking skills. Then funding challenges and adapting to the rapid technological and policy changes. So this is one of the major challenges for the research system. And coming to the way forward, this is one of the major issues we need to address, that is skills for adapting to rapid technological and policy changes, because the Government of India is coming out with different policies like the blue economy policy. So the skills of all the interlinked sectors need to be enhanced. And the net zero emissions, so the blue carbon accounting and the carbon credits plays in this. And several other new technology as well as policy changes are coming. So the research system, all the key actors needs to develop skills for adapting to these technological as well as policy changes. So continuous learning and skill development is required, and interdisciplinary skills. This is also very important when we live in the age of AI, because most of the sectors are now using AI-enabled systems. In fishery sector also, there are a lot of applications like AI-enabled this gear selectivity. So the AI developed by a computer scientist should know the biological aspects of the fishes for developing a fishing gear which is using AI-enabled gear selectivity for fishing. And development of skilled women. This is another opportunity. That is, the government of India has come out with a Sagar Mein Samman policy in 2025, and there is a great scope for employing the fisherwomen, training the fisherwomen in the skill development programs under this scheme. And participatory skill development is another opportunity, that is integrating the traditional knowledge of fishers for boat building, disaster response, and all other aspects, and enhancing the funds for skill development, both from the government sector as well as the private sector. And also the international collaboration is also suggested as a way forward, because now the UGC is coming out with permission to different international institutions to India. So international collaboration is also another opportunity for skill development. Thank you all. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Ashwathy. That was a comprehensive presentation. And now we have the last speaker, Dr. Tom. He volunteered to take on two important questions. One was about CPD, continuation of professional development. The other one was about how are you going to bridge this gap? You are saying that you are going to have 100,000 ships or 300,000 ships of all description, and you require crew to man them. Where are you going to come them? How are we going to skill them? And so he's also in a recruitment agency. And he was telling me yesterday informally that even the CVs of our seafarers are badly constructed. They have too many breaks, whereas when you compare it with anybody coming from Ukraine or any other European country, you find it's also streamlined. So the prospective employer would rather look at that person who's got a streamlined CV than a person who appears to have a lot of breaks. So these are some of the important issues that are of great importance, particularly people who are aspiring to be in the maritime industry. So I'm sure his guidelines will be of great importance to all of you. Over to you, Captain.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all. Maritime Vision 230 and 2047. These are the blueprints for India's maritime sector launched by the Government of India. I'm not touching upon all the points, but just want to highlight certain points where we could be lacking or we need a minor correction here or there. The first point which I want to highlight is academia partnership with industry. This is where our shipyards or other shipping industry can cooperate with the maritime institutes so as to get the trainees develop the required skill. Second thing, we know that as per the vision, our seafarers pool, the whole world is supposed to have been increased, and if you take the figures as correct, last 10 years, the growth of seafarers had been almost 158% more in the last 1 decade. That means out of 1 decade, now 5 years is over. In another 5 years, where will we stand? Such a growth, whether we can we can hold or we can keep that growth, that graph. This is where I would leave a warning, or whatever it be, you can say, that a speeding car, like if any external force is given, it can easily topple and crash. So similarly, if this high growth of the number of seafarers, if it is to be maintained, the administration has to be very careful in devising policies. Mainly, I would say that policies are for good, but it should be always positive. But in this case, sometimes you have to see the policies that are not highly positive, but slightly positive, maybe doing harm than good. So this is where the policymakers have to take a decision not to create such policies without thinking such a way that the seafarers' numbers will come down. It can come down very easily if it is not taken correctly and positively it is taken into consideration while devising the policies. Next one is that skilled workers to be involved in the ancillary industry around the shipyards or whatever it be. And here I must say that Indians are generally skilled by way of their hereditary connection or through training and courses. Why not include them? Why not, like, we have got a lot of carpenters, blacksmiths, all highly talented. So our young generation can also easily get into that sort of a skilled worker by molding them correctly. Now, coming to the blueprint, that is the Vision 2030, where we have lacked, again, is continuous professional development. This is, which stands for continuous professional development, referring to the ongoing process of acquiring new knowledge, skills, and experience in a professional role. It encompasses formal training, work-based learning, and informal experiential learning to improve professional competence and practice. Nothing much has been done about this in India. I would request DG Shipping and other bodies which are, considering promotions to seafarers or conducting their revalidation, etc., to consider CPD as one of the criteria for either exempting from some courses or for giving them grace marks, or like a scale is kept and, they can be promoted based on the marks what they obtain. Now, how this CPD will work? Like this conclave, Maritime Conclave, so many speakers have come, so much of information has been shared here, but how many are here in the hall? The trainees, of course, they are there, but this is a continuous professional development that is lifelong learning. It is not finishing with the trainees, with the cadet time, or, as a junior officer. It is a continuing process, and we must allocate certain points for each such meetings or conclaves or seminars and webinars which are conducted, which are recognized by the administering body, and they are given that many points or marks. Now, having been connected to Nautical Institute, I would like to introduce Nautical Institute's CPD program, where they have a platform, NA Alexis platform it is called, where these programs are conducted and shared with the members, and basically for revalidation of their DP certificates. But if that can be done for DP certificate, DP operators, the CPD online program, Same thing like it is done for DP operators to meet their mandatory revalidation requirements of the DP certificates. If the same can, they are, judged for their DP regulations, DP operations, and related topics. So anybody who is attending these courses are given an exemption from doing a revalidation course. I just conclude here. If any questions, you can ask. And
thank you. I think with the permission of the anchor, we'll just have 1 or 2 questions from the students. Okay, 1 question. Because there's a surprise which Captain Tom Joseph has up his sleeve. Only from the students. 1 student, okay.
okay, if no questions, I will give 2 questions. I will give 2 questions to the trainees on the backbenchers. This is just to relate what you learn in the classroom is not all that you practice. Rather, you are being taught, but you are not applying your mind. So I would like to ask 2 questions. Be careful. I will not be able to repeat because of time constraint. Okay? I am on board a research vessel. We have to lower a beacon. It's called hydroacoustic position beacon to the bottom of the sea. It should go and sit at the bottom. And the beacon is tied to a weight, and there's about a 1 meter, the beacon will be looking up. So that the transducer on the ship bottom, that will send sound waves which goes to the beacon and then come back. Okay? Now, the question is not related to these are all taught in the classroom. Now, how it is lowered? Say 40-meter depth, you are lowering the beacon to the bottom. Once it reaches the bottom, you are given 5 meter slack. 40-meter depth, the beacon wire is given a 5 meter slack. My question, how many meters can the ship go around this point? What is the maximum distance the ship can go around this point?
You can ask the second question also because there is no time.
Vertically lowered 40 meters and 5 meter slack given. Okay. Second question. Anybody answer? Okay, I'll ask the second question, then I will start explaining. Second question is very simple. A ship travels a certain distance. Half the distance traveled at 6 knots and the other half distance traveled at 4 knots. What is the average speed for the entire distance? Say A to B is 6 knots, B to C is 4 knots. What is the average speed for A to C?
If there are no answers, I think we will take it during the lunch session.
Sir.
Maybe they can, yeah, there's somebody answering.
Sir.
Yeah.
5 knots, sir.
Any other answer?
Answer.
Sir, 4.8 knots. 4.8 knots.
Wow. Can you come on stage, please, quickly?
Yeah, Captain Joseph has been kind enough to issue a prize for you. Please come here and receive it quickly. Come running. Let's see you running.
Yes, ask his name also, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Atmadeep Thakur.